everyone, I'm Charlton Singleton, and welcome to this episode of Raising the Volume. Today we have, co-hosting with us, we have my little sister, Kiana Parler. We are in multiple groups together, but I thought it would be really special to have her join us today with this conversation with one of the most dynamic duos that's on the scene today. So everyone, please welcome The War and Treaty. Woo! Thank you all for being here with us.
For having us.
Yes, my favorite.
Yes, absolutely. So now, for all of our viewers that are new to The War and Treaty, Tanya and Michael, let's start from the beginning. First of all, where are you all from? I don't know if you're all from the same town individually. Where are you all from?
I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I call it the DMV, Maryland. Yeah.
Everyone calls it the DMV.
Yeah, I call it the city, you know.
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, wow. Wow, big difference.
Oh yeah, that's a difference. Actually, one of my best friends is from that area. He's from Lyndhurst.
Yep. This is where the war starts.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about how that war started. How did the two of you all meet?
Believe it or not, we actually met at a love festival in Laurel, Maryland.
Oh yeah.
28th, 2010.
Oh, you remember the date. The time. What about the time?
The timestamp is on the picture.
Yeah, picture. And I don't know.
But we met there, and she was giving away book packs to the needy children, and I was a needy adult singing. So it was just worked out perfectly.
We met, and I heard him performing, and I lost it. I mean, I immediately ran over to him and the young lady that he was with at the time and bought 5 CDs.
We don't have to make mention of the young lady.
Yeah. He was with someone at the time.
We don't need
That's
no
all
drama.
right.
We don't need no
That's
drama.
all right. Tell your story.
bro. We don't
Speak on it.
we don't need no drama. We don't need to bring her into this. No.
Yeah, she's in it, but I'm going to take a moment of silence for her. Anyway, and I bought 5 CDs, and I was just, overtaken by how incredibly talented he was and listening to those lyrics. So I asked him, was he writing for anyone? Because I was working on a project with my brother, Willie, at the time. And he told me he hadn't. And we exchanged numbers, and he threw my number away.
We don't have to talk about that either.
There's a lot of we don't have to talk about.
Bruh,
But,
just give me a sign, like, not blink 2 times if you need me to switch the subject up.
So we exchanged numbers, and I tracked him down. I just had to not just know him as an artist, but know him as a human being, because
that's right.
he was just an incredible person from the beginning.
So you said that he had all of these recordings out, and you were working on a project with your brother, or starting to work on a project. Had you been doing a lot of other projects prior to that? Did you have material out as a solo artist?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing music since I was 17, professionally. I've done Sister Act 2, and at that time, I just finished doing a record for Tyler Perry's film, A Family That Prays, but I really wanted to do something different. And I really kind of was doing the project for my brother.
Excuse me, and I had a movie out too called Brother Act Up 4. Straight to plastic, but
It was plywood.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I knew.
So-
Just so to clear it up, I knew about the other things, but I want to make sure that everybody else in our that's in our audience that's listening or watching this, they probably didn't know just how talented the both of you are individually and before all of that. So I wanted to make sure that I got all of that in as well. Yeah.
Well, Tanya is extremely humble and modest. She would not boast. Me, on the other hand, I will tell you that Tanya is the talented one. I'm hanging on by a little piece of thread, but it's okay. You know, I came from the world of the military, but I was a major fan of Tanya. And if you grew up paying attention to pop culture, you too realize just how powerful back in the 90s as well as today, Sister Act 2 actually is. And what's so incredible is the most memorable scene for everyone is when is a scene that actually was not originally in the film. It was a scene that, because they did not want to lose Tanya to the film, Whoopi Goldberg and a couple of other of the writers decided that it would best serve the film to keep Tanya in and to build a scene around the relationship between her and that set of Lauryn Hill.
Right.
And Tanya, but aside from that, just seeing the movie, you would not get the many different complexities of her talent. Tanya's a deep well, and as well as she can sing, as powerful as her voice is, Tanya's Heart is the greatest song I ever heard. And I'm so honored to be able to do the rest of my life.
Right. Give it up for Black Love, everybody. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. So, Tanya, are you going to be a part of the what is Sister Act 3 that they're working on?
You know, I don't know. I just saw that they were working on it, but I've been in kind of indirect contact with a lot of the cast members from the original Sister Act 2, so I don't know what their plans are. We haven't heard anything.
Okay. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's waiting to happen right there. So now you get together. And you start off not first as the War and Treaty as we know it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. We had like
Right.
we had like 9 different names. and we were just kind of figuring it out because we were married for 3 years before we actually started doing music together.
Oh, wow.
Most people, you know, would think it's the opposite. You know, you get together because of music, but we didn't get together because of music. And one day we were having a debate. Well, I was having the argument of not changing the name again because Michael was on name number 9. And in the middle of our argument, you know, I just stopped and I was like, look, this is not a war. We have to have peace with this. It has to be a treaty. We got to do something.
Some sort of
Come
treaty.
with some sort of treaty. And he stopped me mid-sentence and was like, what did you just say? And I said it again. And he was like, that's the name of the group.
I think for me, the thing was there was no story behind our names prior, you know, and I wanted everything that had to do with Ty and I to have a story. I wanted it to be little films inside of a big film, little pictures inside the big picture. And I wanted to find a way to be honest about who we are as a couple and about what we're doing. And for me, the war was everything. You know, even in our relationship at the time, I was not looking for peace. I was looking for the fight. I was looking for the war because that's what I was good at. I was skilled at war. I'm a highly decorated soldier.
And you've gone to war twice.
And I've gone to war twice. But the thing about once you come encounter with a love like Tanya's, it's almost impossible to remain the same, to remain that man of war. And my treaty to the rest of my life was that I was going to love her. And I was going to do whatever it took to keep her in my life. And that's where you get the war and treaty, you know?
Beautifully said.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You got Kiana about to cry over here. I'm going to just tell you right now.
Don't cry, baby.
It's a love song. This is like a love song. You know?
Well, I mean, yeah. But
Wow.
That's part of it. I mean,
So you know, like me and Charlton, Charlton said, we're like little sister, big brother. How is it being on the road with each other? Because I know what it's like being the only female on the road with 4 guys. What about yourself, Tanya?
Wow, you know, it's amazing to be on the road with family. You know, Michael and our son Legend travels with us, and at the time we actually do have a female tour manager, so that was a good thing. But you know, it's always challenging. I'm sure you've experienced on the road being a woman. Mm-hmm. Challenges that you face when you show up at festivals or venues, and it was funny. You know, they would always think that I was the background singer and he was the soloist.
Oh,
and
wow.
For the first year and a half, he had to establish that, no, it's the war and treaty. We're a duo, we're married. So it was a challenge, but I'm grateful to be able to be, one of the only, probably as yourself, women of color that can do this genre of music. And I'm extremely grateful for that, and extremely grateful that we've had so many dates since we've come out as the War and Treaty, and the reception from our fans and new fans and people who've been touched by the music. So it's been a great experience to travel with my husband and my family, and to see the music impacting lives.
Yeah.
I've always been intrigued by the process of songwriting and being in the studio, and one of the many strengths that everyone sees and listens to and hears in your music is the many different styles and genres and feels and things. Sometimes it sounds like it's a soul thing. Sometimes it sounds more gospel-y. Sometimes it sounds a little bit on the folk side. When you write, what is your process? Is it sometimes, Tanya, do you come up with a lyric and present it to Michael, or do you sit down together? Explain, one of the processes that you may have.
Michael is the songwriting genius, and he has a vision for our band. And we, established that very early on, that, from him being in war and being a combat veteran and being taken off the front lines to write songs for the fallen, I soon realized that he can look at you, he can hear you, he can see you, and come up with an entire script about your life. And it was prolific and it was fast. So for the one song I might come up with that might take me 2 weeks, he could do a whole album, 45 songs in 2 weeks. And I was like, well, you know what? You are the lead writer for this band. So we've come to that realization, and there really isn't a process when it comes to him. He can hear a bird tweeting outside and come up with the song.
Well, if I interject, there is a process.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have, I try to take every opportunity to give honor to this process. Mm-hmm. And my process is strictly listening to God. The universe has its own sound, and existence has its own sound, and life has its own sound, death has its own sound, birth, everything from y'all, everybody, everything has its own sound, and it's all originated from one source. And I feel like, for me, Michael, my source has strictly been tuning my ear to the voice of God. And it speaks to the different styles that you're talking about, Charleston. I think what you're hearing has nothing to do with the genre from the War and Treaty. It's just the sound of the way we love one another. Our love sometimes sounds like rock. Sometimes it sounds like rock and roll. Sometimes our love has the sacredness of gospel. It has the sex and lust of R&B. It has the story of heartbreak and pain as country. It has the unspoken and unheard of folk. It might have the zazz and spaz of jazz, but what it is it's truth. And that's what we try to create and live by.
And that's where the good music comes in at.
And that's where it's all good music.
Yeah.
A lot of times with us in Ranky Tanky, we get asked about getting past the gullah sound of our community, which is the basis for our band. But then, and you all know this, you get a lot of record execs and other folks in the industry that try to put you in one sort of category. But in the end, like you were just speaking of, it's just music. It's just the way that we present that song, that we present that particular sound. That was what was called for this particular song, and sometimes that get lost, with all of those folks that are trying to, oh, they're a rock band, or oh, they're an R&B band. Oh, they're black, so they gotta be an R&B band,
Or a gospel.
or a gospel band, or something like that.
Yeah, that is the thing that we constantly, with this skin color, fight against is the labels. But it's our job. It's our responsibility to prove wrong and to teach and educate. Just because she's a black female doesn't mean that she has to either fall in the category of blues, gospel, or R&B. Because we have Mickey Guyton in country, we have Valerie June, who is undefined.
Right.
Ranky Tanky, Jimmy Allen, Kane Brown, and the list goes on. So I think that, those record executives, although they do their job, it's our job to prove them wrong. Yep. And Tanya and I, we leap at that opportunity to say we're so much more than what you think. Yep. And if you come to a live show of ours, then I guess that's what we look forward towards. Because then it's fair game. It's like, okay, it's on now. Now you
right.
came here. Now we're gonna mess up your entire religion of who we are.
Right.
Yeah, like we saw you guys on the red carpet when we got out of the car at the Grammys, and then to see you guys on stage, because we missed you guys and you were here for High Water. We were just flying in and you guys were getting in the van, leaving. So to see you guys on the stage, that was the most exciting part for me watching the Grammys, being there, was seeing you guys, someone we knew and knew we could relate to musically, to be up there, that was amazing.
Absolutely.
That just defies the religion of what people believe. Like, I can tell you what, we shocked a lot of folks being up there because,
it was beautiful.
One, we've never, ever been nominated for a Grammy.
And congratulations to you all for your Grammy.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But we were excited to see you guys.
We'd never been nominated. But I tell you what, again, the power of live performance. Ken Ehrlich, who is the retired producer for almost over 40 years, Ken Ehrlich was sent to the New Orleans Jazz Festival by Mr. Harvey Mason Jr. To see us perform. And we didn't know who he was. He's very unassuming, But he came in our dressing room and said, "Hey, I'm Ken, and I'm here to see you perform."
Oh, wow.
And we said, "Okay, good. We'll see you after the show, I guess. You tell us what you think." We weren't warned. We didn't know anything. We didn't really care. Honestly, we were just so excited to have our second invitation back to the New Orleans Jazz Festival. But I will tell you, once we got on stage, we really unchained. And that was one of the most special performances of our career. in the blues tent. And for anyone that was there, I think it's the defining moment for the War and Treaty. And Ken Ehrlich, he came up to us afterwards, and his face was beet red, filled with tears. And he said, "Where have y'all been?" And we were like, "In our skin. We've been here, where have you been?" Not knowing who he is. And he said, "You'll be hearing from me." The Hollywood thing, you'll hear from me.
Right.
And I remember around this same time last year, Harvey had gave us a phone call and wanted to know if we were sitting down. And I was like, "Yeah, we're sitting down. What's up?" And he said, "Are you doing anything the last week of January?" And we were like, "Not really. I mean, we preparing to go on the road, go on our tour." And he said, "Well, I don't know if you want to do something like this, but do you want to perform on the Grammys?" And we're like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
The party at the Grammys?
Is there a show that's... He's like, "No, do you want to be in the finale on the show?" And we're like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Wait a minute, man." And he's like, "Yeah. It's with Ben Platt, Camille Cabello, Common, Cyndi Lauper." And at first, John Legend was going to be in the piece. But then John decided to introduce the piece. And we would later learn, because he really wanted the attention to go towards War and Treaty. And we found that out because even at the Grammys the night before, his people called and said John wants to take the War and Treaty out on a 37-date tour with him. So, had it not been for that performance, we would not have been there. And again, live performance, everyone talks about the power of the record nowadays. What Duke Ellington, what Ella Fitzgerald, what Mahalia Jackson, Charlie Bird Parker, Scott Joplin, Nat King Cole.
That's my dude right there.
Ray Charles.
Oh, yeah.
All the ones who we were reared up on. What they taught us was, don't ever let anyone tell you that the record is the only power you have. The main power you have is live touch.
Yeah.
That's right.
Live performance. And that's what I would say to someone.
Right.
That it sucks. We should have like a live album performance awards ceremony. Like, no one has that. We just focus on the live album, because like with us, the recording is fine. That's our foundation, how we get the message out. But to see the bands live, that's when you can tell where the true artistry and talent is, minus all the,
Oh, yeah.
engineered record stuff.
Definitely. So those and I just want to grab this really quick. You mentioned that performance in New Orleans. There's another performance that wasn't necessarily scheduled, but when you all sang during the march from on the going across the bridge, with Rep, God rest his soul, that we just lost, Representative Lewis. And I'm starting to get some bumps about that right now. Just how did that whole thing come about? Explain, that to us.
Oddly enough, it was a thing. So he reached out and wanted to us to come to his birthday, and because they were doing a commemoration of the march to Selma, and we were going to sing "Love Like There's No Tomorrow" during the service, and then we would sing at the dinner later on that evening. We would do our full set. Mm-hmm. But when we got on the bridge, the
Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Edmund Pettus
Bridge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. they looked over and said to, at first it was to Jamie Johnson. Jamie Johnson is a big time country white guy who sings so soulful. They said, Jamie, lead us in the march. And Jamie said, no, man, War and Treaty. And we were so afraid because this is our giant, John Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, Tanya and I, Tanya's, we both weren't born when Dr. King walked the earth. So aside from the memories and the historical stories we hear, this is our guy, John Lewis. This is the closest, this is living, breathing, walking history.
Right there.
Right there. We watched him on film get beaten. We watched him on film get trampled on. And for us to be standing right there on the bridge, that was his greatest pain, yet his greatest triumph. And for him to give us the nod and say, yes, War and Treaty, lead us in the... Oh my God. And we just said, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Let it shine.
Yes.
And for him to grab our hands with tears in his eyes at the end of the march and say, thank you for being here with me. And for him to grab our hands that night and hold our son and say, keep going, War and Treaty, keep going. It was like, you can't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Grammys is cool.
Yep.
Bridge.
I got this right
History.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Well, now, just sort of to wrap things up, I mean, Heartstown, woo, that's just a piece of work. We just mentioned Grammys, but you got my vote when that comes back around. It's a beautiful piece of work. It's just like I like it. It's all over the map, man. It's the songwriting, the lyrics, the execution, just everything about it. I love, and just congratulations on all of that. How just really quick, how long did that take you all to get in through with that?
About 6 months. We were, this was probably the longest process we've ever had making a record. We did an EP before in Albion, Michigan, where we came from before we got to Nashville. And it was easier because we just went in someone's basement and kind of ripped it, But this was and then we did our prior CD, Healing Tide.
Healing Tide, yeah.
Yeah. And I just felt that this time around, Michael should produce the record. And so Heartstown was a different animal for us because it was his first time really, using synths and working with our band and producing a record because he can hear everything. He hears the horns, hears the strings, and those are all his lines that he came up with on the record. So it was a process, I know, for me to watch him go through it, and ask me, to just, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And being in the co-pilot seat of co-production and knowing when to step back, when to step back or when to say anything because it was his first time really going for it. So it was a challenge. It was a challenge for me because it was like walking a tightrope, how to stay wife and how to stay co-producer and how not to bring it home because, as a producer, he was always in it 24 hours a day. So I know for me, it was a tightrope. It was a very challenging time for us. But I don't know what you think about it, Michael.
About the process? I thought it was amazing. I mean, for me, it's just I learned so much about just the studio and creating an album that reflects your life, but it is not your life. And that was the one thing I learned. I learned how to be patient and let it come to you instead of you chasing after it because it's not there. And I learned how to work with others. Tanya has an impeccable ear. And although it's like pulling teeth trying to get her to actually admit that she's the real producer, I lean to her judgment a lot. And it always, for me, okay, so I'll just end it like this. I don't care what I'm doing, what I'm saying, how I'm visualizing. I have learned in 10 years that if it doesn't end with Tanya, it doesn't last.
Wow, the power of a woman.
That's it.
It's powerful.
That's it. If it doesn't end with her, it does not last, and it's not for me. Point blank, period.
Point blank, period.
So I want to put this out in the universe that Ranky Tanky and Warren Treaty are going to collaborate one day. That would be beautiful.
That would be beautiful.
That
would be awesome.
I think it would be amazing.
If I don't know how it's working out with the scheduling for you all, we're getting some dates and things on the calendar and things for 2021. I saw the Austin City Limits thing that you all did, which was yes sir, yes ma'am. So it would be great if we could all cross paths on the road sometime and make it happen.
That would be awesome.
Let's make it happen.
5 more minutes. That's my thing. Kiana, you ready? Nope, 5 more minutes. Give me 5 more minutes.
Yes.
That's my jam.
Well, thank you all so much for being on our program here.
Yes.
And just love you all to death. And hope that like I said, we cross paths live and in person and even make some music together. That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Y'all,
so good.
can't wait.
Thank you so much, and y'all have a happy year and enjoy your holidays.
Likewise, Happy New Year.
Peace and blessings.
And thank you, Kiana, for doing this as well.
And give Legend a big hug, because he's so talented too, Charles. You should hear him sing.
Oh, well, then, that's a family thing.
Yes.
We're going to have to, maybe, can we get him on a record, on a song as well?
You would love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go. All right, well, thank you all so very much. Appreciate you. Love you madly.
All right.
Thank you all for checking out this episode, and we'll see you at the next one.
I get scared sometimes.
But as I always say,
It's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 70 years. BlueCross BlueShield of South Carolina.